Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy New Year's Eve. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic, and this is the Rush Hour podcast, December 31st, 2024. And on today's episode, I've got all of your New Year's Eve stories. It's going to be a wild evening as they're letting Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen drink again on live TV. There's also a polar freeze heading for the southern states. I'll tell you what this means for you in the next couple weeks. Plus, Kristen Bell puts her money where her mouth is, donating six figures to folks with medical debt. I'm sorry, I want to live in a world where we don't have to rely on each other's generosity for, I don't know, health. Plus, we've got Vanderpump's Lala Kent sharing her favorite morning coffee routine. It's breast milk. We'll share that story. The squeeze. And Madi Prewett, the evangelical influencer, daughter-in-law of a multi-billionaire, gives us a guide on how to set New Year's resolutions. Resolution number 1, marry rich. Pay your taxes. All right, I got all those stories and so much more. It's all coming up next on The Rush. Let's start by wishing a Happy New Year's to our friends over there in Australia. You know, we're big in the Australian market, and they've already got their first New Year's on-air blunder. Let's share it here. Let's break in the new year. Here's a correspondent after the ball dropped, or whatever the heck they call it. What do they call it in Australia? In New York, we have the ball dropping. What do they have? A kangaroo gives birth? How does it work?
Tonight, we see in the new year live from around the world, good start. From the world-famous Sydney Opera House.
He's like, you know what? Hey, sending it back to you. I'm wasted. So, hey, you're allowed to have a Foster's, get crunked. And either way, there it is.
Big
and
news
now we find out that actually here on the Stephen Colbert show, the Late Show, on New Year's Eve tonight, Anderson Cooper will be able to drink. Bring back Drunk Anderson.
Big news last year we talked about is you guys could drink again.
Yes.
And are you allowed to drink this year? Yes. You are allowed to?
I guess, okay, I'm sorry. Last year they were allowed to drink again, and this year they're allowed to drink after last year. So 2 years in a row. How many years in a row are you allowed to drink at work before they start cutting you off?
All right, let's toast you guys getting toasted. Now,
what is that?
We have different options here. This is that George Clooney liberal tequila here, that Casamigos.
Yes.
This is the tequila that got Joe Biden to drop out, actually. Do you guys want to do? There's flies in here. You guys, do you want to do tequila shots, or do you want to do some Fresca and tequila?
Well,
I've got that same look Anderson Cooper has when I'm offered a shot, right? We just shame each other. You don't want to not take the shot, but you're like, oh boy, it's too early, because they record this at 3 p.m. And it's like, what do you do after you've had a tequila shot at 3 p.m.? You got to call it a day. You got to go get margaritas and just live your life.
Fresquila is my brand, so that's what I'm going to have.
Fresquila and Anderson?
Wow, that's a heavy pour,
what?
man.
What?
That's a heavy pour.
Well, I want this to be a good interview.
Yeah.
There you go. Just throw that right there.
Oh,
there you go. Anderson,
garnish.
what'll it be? What's your poison?
I'll just do a shot.
You'll just do a shot. Because you're a hard-drinking man.
You can tell he's in good shape. He knows his calories. He's like, oh, that Fresca's got added sugar. Just give me the shot of tequila.
Dude,
you're a hard-drinking man.
Wait, are you going on the air tonight?
Yes.
That's it.
I'm going rum.
All right, so either way, he goes rum like the Irish Catholic that he is. Yeah, just the white trash drinks. All right, anyhow, so we've got some updates on the Arctic blast that's coming our way. But first, we covered this on This Morning Rush. I kind of covered this as a joke, but I guess, I don't know. People are recording the fog. And look, there's an old saying, I think it's by Einstein, who said it, when you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things changes. Maybe that was Wayne Dyer. Either way, the point is, everyone who's in this alien TikTok, or the drone TikTok, thinks that the fog is some sort of, I guess, man-made event. Some are saying the fog is there so that we can't see the alien factions fighting each other in the skies. I want to believe in weird stuff. I do, but I'm going to need more evidence than the fog's looking a little extra foggy today. Someone said, weird sudden fog appearance before the Arctic blast. Major blast of Arctic air to bring cold, snowy start. So yeah, there's going to be an Arctic blast, I think the second week, or starting January 6th or thereabouts, for a week or so. They're saying it's going to be below freezing in Florida. What does this mean for all of us? Wear your thermals, and we're just going to let it all play out. Those that think there is some sinister event leading up up to January 20th with the new president coming in. I don't know. I don't buy it. It's going to take more than a little fog to deter me. Although I got to tell you, pairing the fog with the plasmoids and the drone warfare and the UAPs, it's interesting to say the least. But what's more interesting is trying to keep everybody safe and healthy this holiday, and norovirus cases are spiking across the U.S. What does this mean for you? Have a listen.
Health warning as cases of the norovirus surge.
Norovirus decided to be our last little Christmas gift.
New data from the CDC shows an increase in outbreaks, with 91 reported in the first week of December across 14 states, more than double the number for the same week over the past 3 years.
Is there any reason why?
What do these numbers even mean? 91 outbreaks, more than double? Like, is this, don't cough on people. If don't sneeze, put a mask on in an airplane. I know masks don't do anything. Just don't be an a-hole. You know what I mean? Wash your hands. What else can you do? Live your life.
And why we're seeing this rise.
Gathering together, especially this time of the year, and all the traveling we're doing, that's causing the increases.
The highly contagious virus, commonly referred to as the stomach flu, can cause days of vomiting, gastrointestinal problems, and fever.
Now, look, I don't want anyone to get the norovirus, but, and again, I don't want anyone to get it, but, I mean, if you're trying to start the new year off on a good diet, I'm telling you something, no quicker way than evacuating your bowels to drop a couple pounds. I'm just saying, we all ate like crap during the Christmas season. If it takes a couple days of shooting gingerbreads out of the, okay, you get the point. All right, let's just move it along here. The New York Police Department is deploying tremendous resources for their New Year's Eve. There are no credible threats, although that's not going to let them stop. With the New York Police Department is a bigger military than most countries. It is gigantic. They have a prison underneath Central Park. It's absolutely fantastic. The police state, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. I guess that, unless you're a Luigi. Okay, can't make it there. All right, here's what the NYPD commissioner had to say.
At this time, there are no specific credible threats to the Times Square New Year's Eve celebration. However, we have been operating in a heightened threat environment.
No new threats. However, fear, chaos, fear.
Since October 7th, and we remain vigilant. The public can expect to see a tremendous amount of police resources deployed throughout the area and across the city.
Over time.
That includes members of some of our elite specialized units, including our emergency services unit, who will be strategically deployed throughout the area on rooftops. Our canine teams who will patrol with bomb-sniffing dogs, our aviation unit who will be in the skies scanning the event and the surrounding areas.
Is this not the most dystopian world? Their aviation unit, their bomb-sniffing dogs. We've even got people disguised as window washers that'll be rappelling from the building. It's like, we get it. It's going to be, don't go to New York City. Like, if you don't live in New York City, don't go to New York City, especially on New Year's Eve. Don't go during the Rockefeller Christmas. Go pick an off time. Go on a Tuesday afternoon, late January, when the fog's not overtaking us because there's a faction of war happening in the skies. That's when you need to go. All right. Anyhow, what do we've got here? Is this, we've got, Tom Hanks is next. We love Tom Hanks. He gives us an update on why you shouldn't quit drinking coffee. That story next. Now, as you guys know, healthcare is pretty expensive out there. So let's just get our healthcare advice from Tom Hanks. He's done something right. Here's what he has to say.
Now, where do you stand on caffeine?
Oh, I consume way too much of it, and my doctor told me I have to stop. I try and keep
Change
it under.
doctors. Because
Thank you. You're my doctor now.
There's a reason it's a legal addictive stimulant, because it's fantastic.
And we need it.
I would rather give up, like Cling Peaches than, I'll give up anything. But if some doctor says to me, you can't have a cup of coffee in the morning, I say, thank you very much. I'm getting a different doctor.
I could not agree with Tom Hanks more. You take, sure, you can cut some things out of your life, but a good old fashioned coffee. Now, you maybe get rid of the frap, maybe get rid of the added sugar, but it's like, are you kidding me? A venti cold brew with a 1/4 inch of cream? That's my lifestyle. I couldn't do any of this without it. A lot of people say, hey, Dave, how do you get so much done in a day? I drink coffee and I try to ride the wave. And speaking of coffee here, we've got Lala Kent says she's not wasting her liquid gold and puts breast milk in her coffee. Can't say it's a terrible idea. Let's have a listen.
What are you doing right now? Are you breastfeeding?
Yeah. Can I tell you something?
Please.
So I pumped when I got here.
Mm-hmm.
but there was nowhere to put my breast milk to save.
Did you give it to someone?
Well, I put it in my coffee and drank 10 ounces of breast milk this morning.
Why?
Why not?
I'm not going to dump it down the sink.
First of all, buy a Ceres chill and you could have saved it for 20 hours cold. Like, you need this.
How big is that?
20 ounces.
I have a good factory.
Okay,
I don't know
knock
how
on
that
wood.
I don't know how that happened either. Because I was never married to the idea of breastfeeding. I was like, maybe I'll do it. Maybe my milk will come in. Maybe it won't. Maybe she'll latch. Maybe she won't.
You know, it's pretty scary. You know, coming from somebody, I know what you're thinking, Dave. I want to hear your hot take on breastfeeding. And you know what? I'll give it to you. So latch on to this. Now, look, obviously, I can't breastfeed, but my wife does. And it's probably doing it right now. Hey, honey, how are you? And my son, let me tell you something. He has got quite the latch. He'll hit it like a bag of wine. You know what I mean? You ever slap the bag of wine? He's all over. He's he'll drink like it's a Capri Sun. You know, you ever have a hot day as a kid and you're trying to get the last of that Capri Sun out? Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is it's like, yeah, no, some people obviously it doesn't work as well as others, and it's I'm sure very stressful in that case. And you know, I totally empathize. We had a formula shortage a few years ago, and we have a member of our Patreon whose daughter needed breast milk, and we went on a hunt throughout the country to find the right formula, and you know, we totally empathize with those situations. What the hell was I trying to say? Oh, but yeah, I mean, look, if you have extra breast milk and you can't chill it and you can't give it away, slap it on the baby, do something with it, you know what I mean? Use it for some moisturizer. It's liquid gold. We got all the billion and trillion dollar pharmaceutical industries, and they don't even know what's in this milk here that's coming out of your the old mammary glands. It's just fantastic. The human body is a miracle. What else can you say about it? So by all means, if you're on the loose and you got nowhere to go with it, just a little breast milk in the crow's feet. Now, does that actually work? I have no idea. Although we have been known to throw some breast milk in the baby's bath, but that's when it's already spoiled and it's no longer, edible. But hey, throw it in your coffee. I mean, yeah, you know what? Isn't that so funny that we need to reevaluate what we're doing with our lives and what's taboo and what's not? Here I have a 1/4 inch of breast milk from a cow, and it's utter delicious. You see what I did there? And the point I'm trying to say is, why is this normal, but Lala Kent's breast milk isn't? I don't know, folks. I didn't write the rules. All right. Well, speaking of doing what's healthy for your baby and yourself and for others, we've got Kristen Bell putting her money where her mouth is, donates $100,000 towards people's medical bills. Now, two things can be true. One, good on her. Sure. I'm sure she could use the tax write-off. Her and her husband are 100 millionaires due to Dax Shepard's podcast and her career in, Frozen and whatever else. Does Elsa chill her breast milk from Frozen? I don't know how it works. I didn't watch the movie. But either way, the point is, I think it's great that you can donate the money to other people's GoFundMe. We've had many GoFundMes this year for different concerns of people that we've helped out and whatnot. I just hate that that's the world we live in. When rather than, because GoFundMes are essentially socializing generosity. Do you understand what I'm saying there? It's socializing generosity because we all decide to pitch into a GoFundMe to help somebody else out. And my thought is, what if we all just taxed people an amount that's commensurate with where they are on the scale? So if you make a lot more money, sure, you pay more in taxes. Why don't we do that? If you're privileged to be, Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard, they're going to pay 30% of tens of millions of dollars in taxes, but they're going to find ways to invest in things and lower their tax liability. Like, that's going to happen regardless. But wouldn't it be nice if we all just said, you know what? Once you make over 50K, everybody pays 15%, something very minimal. That would be probably better than the system now, where the rich kind of know how to cheat the system more than others. So actually, I have a clip about that. Tens of thousands of wealthy Americans don't even file their taxes. Are you kidding me? So for those that are saying, oh, Dave, like these people, the money trickles down to us. Me. We're all baby, birds just waiting for that billionaire's worm to shit out of them and into us and say, oh no, it's the human centipede. We love this. This, works perfectly. If I can reevaluate the putting breast milk in my coffee, maybe we can also reevaluate the archaic system we have here.
CNBC has learned that tens of thousands of wealthy Americans have simply not filed tax returns in recent years, and many of them are not complying yet with IRS efforts to get them to do so, according to data obtained exclusively by CNBC. Now, a quirk in federal tax law
A quirk. How about highway robbery?
Incentivizing millionaires who want to avoid taxes to simply not file their returns. That's because it's a felony to file false tax returns, but it's only a misdemeanor to not file at all. And what's more, a millionaire not filing a return is highly unlikely to face prosecution at all due to limited IRS and Department of Justice resources to go after them. Now, in February, the IRS sent more than 25,000 compliance letters to people who had not filed returns since 2017 and had more than $1 million in income between tax years 2017 and 2021. Now, of the 25,000 high-income non-filers, as they call them, with more than $1 million in income who got these warning letters, only 5,460, or just 24%, have since filed their returns. 76% of them have not yet done so.
So what does this mean? The rich know how to abuse the system to a degree, not everybody, but to a degree. So what happens last year? We invest all of this money into hiring new IRS agents, and people go, oh, they're going to be coming after me. Sorry, Janet, no one's coming after your low-rent cupcake business. God bless it. We love your cupcakes, but it's like you need money to come after the people just so that they pay their fair share. IRS says that the hiring surge and funding boost was supposed to generate $560 billion more than it thought. Improves to IT and increased use of data analytics and deterrence factors are supposed to improve the return on IRS spending. Now, I could be wrong. Don't take my word for it, but I think they already wiped that all out with the new administration. So it's like, are the rich just going to get richer? Who's footing the bill? So this idea that we don't have the money to pay for Band-Aids in our country is ludicrous. It's ludicrous because we do have the money. We're just not, educated enough to know that we're being robbed, and we're too busy fighting left versus right when we should be fighting up versus down. So here's another clip of just another instance of us getting robbed. I'll have that story for you next.
Walmart profits jumped to $15 billion in 2023. Did it substantially increase wages or lower prices? No. It spent $9 billion on dividends and buybacks, with most benefits going to the children of Walmart's founder, who together own 46% of the company's stock. Textbook greed.
I mean, that's what it is, right? Now, there are so many Walmart employees that they coach them on how to take advantage of the welfare system so they won't, make them full-time employees. So the corporations are using socialism, social welfare programs to provide benefit for their employees, to subsidize them to continue working at low wages for them to make billions of dollars. I know you guys get it. We have a smart audience. I know you guys get it. But where's everybody else? So we go, well, this administration did this. Well, this administration, done, enough. It's the corporate class, it's the billionaires, it's Americans fighting back, not letting them, pay off politicians, and I don't see an end in sight. I really don't. Here is a daughter of a billionaire. I should say the daughter-in-law of a billionaire, Madi Prewett. She's an evangelical influencer and, of course, former star of The Bachelor. She made it her sort of brand to save it for marriage. Good for her, I guess. I don't care. And she has some tips on how to set goals that last.
Set a vision for yourself, to set some goals for yourself, and why that's important. So the first thing is we need to have a clear vision. And I would break it down spiritually, relationally, emotionally.
First vision, marry a billionaire's son.
Physically, I would write those things out when you're thinking about setting goals. Point number 2, write the vision down. When we just
look, I can't even listen to Madi Prewett, and it's no offense to her. It's just like taking dating advice from somebody who's a perfect 10. Like, I don't need Margot Robbie to give me tips on how to look beautiful. Sorry, you were born with beautiful bone structure. You know what I mean? Give me a haggard person who gets laid. I want tips from them on how to date. You know what I'm talking about? All right, how to reflect on your past year marrying a billionaire's son.
We shouldn't set future goals without taking time to reflect on past patterns.
True.
So if you had poor patterns in your past, even if you're headed into a new year and you have these great goals that you've written down and you've sent out to all of your friends, if you don't confront the poor patterns, that's just going to bleed into your next year. That's just going to bleed into this next chapter. And so you have to reflect and go back to these past patterns and ask yourself, where do I need to grow? Where do I need to improve? And 2 questions that I really love asking asking myself is, what is something or some things that I did in this past year and in this past season that were helpful?
When marrying a billionaire's son, how can I best make sure I'm in the will? You know what I mean? Look, okay, good, whatever. I don't care about Madison Prewett. I wish her the best in life, whatever. It's just a funny example to know, like, we don't properly understand how much $1 billion is. It's $1,000 million. Do I have that right? $1,000 million is $1 billion. That's so many thousands. I mean, imagine a small arena of 1,000 people all having $1 million, and then take that by how many billions of dollars you have. I think her father-in-law is worth $6 billion, whatever it is. And you know, people will say, well, he earned that. He fought his way up the system. I just don't think that should exist. I don't think billionaires should exist. I'd be happy to put my money where my mouth is if I ever become a billionaire. Remind me of this. I'll be happy with, I don't know, $100 million. I think I would be perfectly fine with that. I mean, who hoards all of that money? You know, anyway, I digress. So anyway, look, I'm going to kick back right now. It's the end of 2024. It's our last episode of 2024. This year was such a great year for our channel. We were able to prove that we can venture out of different niches. We changed the title of the show from Bachelor Rush Hour to The Rush Hour. In 2025, I pledged I would start doing the podcast on YouTube as well, and I just couldn't wait, so I started this week doing a soft launch, as it were, giving you guys the video along with the audio to this podcast. I'm humbled. I'm humbled that people care so much to make us a part of their day. It provides me a high level of respect to make sure that I deliver to you guys news that I find interesting, thought-provoking, entertaining. Yeah, some stories are just funny. Tom Hanks saying, drink your coffee, that's funny. Lala Kent putting some breast milk in her okay, sure, we'll talk about it. But then the other stories, the healthcare, the finding ways to unite our country for the right reasons. The reasons that, we all should have I've been talking a lot about how healthcare should be a right. And people say healthcare isn't a right. And I go, that's the problem. The problem is some people can have jobs where we deem those jobs worthwhile for healthcare. I think the person who picks, vegetables or fruits in the farm, I think they deserve healthcare as well. I think their right to life is every much as important as Madi Prewett's. And I don't think that's a weird hill to die on. So where I want to see the next year for our channel, I want to continue enlarging our platform. I want to continue doing good, trying to provide for our community. I want to continue to raise up members of our community because I do think we've got the best audience in the world, as proven by our charitable single mom Christmas wish lists and all the other, ways we can try to elevate the voices within our world. I want to be a good dad and husband. I want to try to protect my family from all of the chaos that exists and remind people that the vibrations of love are way bigger and stronger than the vibrations of hate and fear. The internet and news, whether it be mainstream or independent news, lives off of fear. If it bleeds, it leads. And in the world we live in, we don't need to react to the fear in ways we did in the past. We all have enough resources in this world to live our best life. And I want to share those with you. So specific goals for 2025? Nah. I'll share those when it's time. But overall goals, enlarging my territory, which is just the idea that continue to try to get the audio and video version of this podcast into more people's ears and eyeballs. And continue, it's like I always look at my show as like a muffin factory. I bake muffins. It takes me the same amount of work to bake muffins every day, whether I sell 7 muffins or 50 million muffins. So I want to enlarge my territory by bringing this podcast to a much bigger audience. And I'm aware that by putting it on YouTube, it might be one step backwards before it's 2 steps forwards. People have followed me for different reasons. The Bachelor Clayton Echard story, Bachelor news, stand-up comedy. It's for whatever different reasons. Some people come and go. I need to continue along my course and know that the right people will be there to set sail with me. And if I can give any advice to you out there, be your authentic self. You're better off and will have more success being the authentic version of you than trying to be a version of you that others other people want you to be. That would just be a stripped down version of you. So if there's any advice I can give for 2025, it might sound cliche, but dance as if nobody's watching and just be silly. Find that inner child, feed it, water it, and just be you. And see all the riches that can come your way. Now, that doesn't mean be an a-hole. Sometimes we're like, all right, be a little bit less you. Be conscientious of others. But know that a good smile, a good hello, a nice comment to a stranger in the drive-thru can go a long, long way. I got a special episode tomorrow. I got Reality Steve helping me on a holiday, New Year's Day, kicking it off with Reality Steve. So normally on Friday afternoons, which it's not, but on Friday afternoons, I always end the podcast by saying, tell your boss to go F themselves. Well, it's Tuesday afternoon, and I want to tell you right now, from the bottom of my rush hour heart to yours, happy effing New Year to you. I'm Dave Neal, and this is The Rush.